We have surprises in the Eastern Hemisphere and some Hearthstone California daydreaming this week on the Weekly Blizz.
Is this on?
Drop the beat.
Are you with me?
Welcome back this week to the Weekly Blizz. I'm Guaz. This is Broteen. As you'll notice, Bags isn't here. He is on vacation. So, Broteen, why don't you tell the people who you are real quick?
All right, so I am a good friend of these two gentlemen here. I've been playing Blizzard games for about 9-10 years, and yeah, just been been in the same guild as both of these guys for years and years and years. So
Years
yeah,
and years.
thought we'd do a podcast. So it's pretty cool.
Thought we do a podcast. Yeah, basically. And yeah, as if you guys watched or listened to the show last year, Broteen was one of the hosts, but then real life stuff came up where we actually had to stop doing the show for a while. Broteen graduated college, and then you went on what, like a month long vacation?
2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Seemed like a month.
Yeah.
And
Trip
then
to Europe. It was fun.
and then got a big boy job. Bags was switching jobs. I was traveling for my job. So real life stuff came up, but now we are here. Broteen is filling in for Bags, and you will be seeing more though of this mug because we are in the works of more shows to bring to you, to all of you, that we're just working on the fine tuning everything that needs to be done before we can actually produce the shows
Launch it.
and launch it. So
Get pumped.
yeah, so now you know who this guy is, so don't be alarmed by the fact that it's not Bags Man. And let's get into the show. So let's start with our week in gaming. Broteen, how was your week?
Ooh, I can thoroughly say it's been a tough week
Yeah?
in gaming. Yeah, I've been trying to get a bunch of team league games in with my good old roommate Kyle and some friends over there,
Yeah.
and friends from work, and we have had a rough go of it. It's
Oof.
like because we're doing parties of 2 or parties of 3 with team
Yeah,
league because we haven't had a
yeah.
full 5 stack yet, and just about every single game we're having people like, oh, I don't want to say like not be matched up with us that were on our level, but,
But
they
they
were
shouldn't be.
pretty awful.
Yeah.
Like just about every game has had people just kind of inept at characters. Like we had a Valera get out damaged by our healer, I think,
What?
in hero damage, and I did like 4 times Valera's damage, and my buddy Raph did like 2.5 times. Like it was atrocious, and we just couldn't secure kills because of that. So we've had bad Abathurs, we've had bad Tassadars, we've had bad, you name it. We've pretty much had a bad one, a bad Dahaka, and so it's like impossible to win games, and you just get stuck in that rut like you did with
Yeah.
Hero League. Like you just you get a few bad matches, and you just keep getting matched up with the same level people, and it's impossible to win because
Yep.
just
Climb is hard.
yeah, the understanding of the game is totally different.
Yeah.
Like you're playing with people, and you may understand that this is when you go to the objective, or this is when you're supposed to take a camp, like timing wise, and your team just is not on the same page or doesn't really understand that, and is like, oh, I'm just gonna go lane. I'll take out this tower.
Yeah.
We had a KT use his Phoenix repeatedly on the towers.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Like he blew his ult on towers.
Well, Bags and I are always looking for more
Oh.
people for Team League, so
True, man.
we should
Just
all
let me
team up.
know. And on top of that, he was teamed with an Abathur, so like we got him on our team. And the Abathur, they're both master skins, mind you. And the Abathur did not use his ultimate evolution until we were at our core being pushed out of the game.
Really?
It was like a 15, 14-minute game. It was so painful to do because we were doing fine. We barely had any deaths. The Abathur died more than anybody else on the team. He got caught out 5 times at the beginning of the game. Like he just kept getting
Right,
picked
yeah,
out
that's
of the
unreal.
same bush. So Yeah, that
Well,
was
first of all,
been my
Master
life.
Skin Abathur is the wrong way to go. You always have to go Pajamather. That's a
You can't
fact.
not go Pajamather, but
Exactly.
that was probably his problem.
Yeah.
So, how about you, Sean? How was your week in gaming?
Um, similar. I had a few bad matches in Hero League where I had a Thrall player that was blaming everyone else on the team for their mistakes. It was like one of those people.
The worst kind of people.
Yeah, like this was later on in the game. We had about a 3/4 to 1 level lead over the other team, and we had lanes pushed in. So we started roaming as a team of 5, just to get some picks. We were on um, uh, the pirate map.
Black Hearts.
Black Hearts
Bay.
Bay. Yes,
Yeah.
we were on there. So we're like, all right, let's roam. We know roughly. I think they had a Malfurion. We know roughly where Malfurion is. Let's see if we could get a pick. Then we'll turn in, maybe grab boss. But at the same time, we didn't know if they were turning in or trying like a last ditch effort to grab boss. So that's why we're like, all right, let's roam together and see if we could get a pick. And
Didn't get a pick.
they had a Samuro who just sent their clones down and it was attacking our Lily. So we're like, all right, let's just clean up these clones and then keep going. Our Thrall goes off by themselves to Handon. Their whole team was at Handon. He dies instantly. He gets deleted and then blames us, saying, "Oh, 4 of you were chasing clones." And our ETC was like, "Nobody was chasing clones. We cleaned up the clones in like 2 seconds, and you went off by yourself." And he just kept saying
YOLO
that.
bid.
Yeah. And then was like, "Oh, I was on Li Ming. Oh, Li Ming, you have the worst hero damage." And then that's when everyone was like, "Dude, like, what is wrong with you?" Because I was like, "Do I actually have worse hero damage?"
At that point, he's just trolling.
Yeah, and I looked at my hero damage and I was way above everybody else because our ETC was, pinging when his mosh was up. So as soon as he landed, and he landed great mosh pits, I would just, yeah, exactly, like throw everything there, laser, reset, do it all over again. So my damage was, unreal. But
Yep.
unfortunately, you get stuck with people like that. The same thing in Overwatch. Been solo queuing comp, which is just as terrible as as well as it sounds. Basically, it's so bad because you have people then that are like, you have to push forward, and we're like, okay, but we're getting pushed back. Like, you're a flanker, why don't you flank? And it's so, yeah, pretty rough week, basically, to say the least.
Yep. Like,
But
you're a Reaper. Why are you running in front of everybody?
yeah, exactly. And
Yep.
so that was my week. So
All
all
right.
right. So
With that,
let's get into the
tell me about
news.
some Overwatch, dude.
Yeah, Overwatch.
It's high noon.
We had Group B quarterfinals of Apex Season 2 started last week. Or, I'm sorry, yeah, because Group A had finished the week before, so they finally got into Group B. First match was Meta Athena versus Afrika Freaks Blue, which Meta Athena won 3-1. Afrika Blue took the first map on Ilios, which was very back and forth. Like, Afrika Blue took the first and the third point, because Meta Athena took the second one. But that's the only map that they would win. They go on to Eichenwald, where Meta Athena dominantly won all 3 points, and they held Afrika Blue to just after the first point. Temple Anubis was closer. It did go to a tiebreaker, but Meta Athena had much more time in the bank, and they were able to win it. And then go to the last map on Dorado. I'm sorry, not the last map, third map. Onto Dorado, which I'm actually going to show this clip, because Afrika did take all 3 points, but they only took the last point into overtime. Meta Athena, on the other hand, they just pushed all the way through. I think they only reset once because like 1 or 2 players died. That was it. And this was already on the way to the third point. But going into that third point, they had a beautiful Zarya and Hanzo ult combo, which the combo actually only took like 2 or 3 people, but it was able to scatter
That's
the
a
rest
strong
of them.
combo.
Yeah, but afterwards was even better because they were able to scatter their team, which they cleaned up easily and got a team kill, and then just kept pushing right on in. So that was really nice. I'm going to show that clip. Then the last map, or with that though, it did go to a tiebreaker, but Afrika only had a minute because of overtime, and Meta Athena had over 4 minutes. Meta Athena obviously
Come
took
on,
that.
yeah. An
So-
extra 3 minutes on somebody, you should
Should be able to win
at
it.
that level be able to win that. Yeah.
Yep. So Meta Athena won that, knocked Afrika Blue down into the lower bracket. Next match was Kongdu Panthera against LW Blue. Now, Kongdu Panthera looked like one of the strongest teams in the season, along with their sister team, Uncia. LW Blue actually took the first 2 maps, which also was the first 2 map losses that Panthera had all season. They went into playoffs with a perfect record.
That's pretty good, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Some would say. Uh,
Meant to be broken. Nobody's undefeated forever, unless you're Floyd Mayweather and run around the ring, but you're still amazing. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But LW did take Lijiang Towers. They took the second and third point. Then Numbani went to a tiebreaker, but LW again, you have that bigger time bank, you're generally going to win it, and they did. But then that was at that point, Panthera was like, all right, we just wanted to know what it felt like to lose. And then they flipped the switch. They go out to Hanamura, which went to a tiebreaker, but this time, again, bigger time bank again. I know I keep saying this, but that's what keeps happening.
I'll kill you.
So Panthera took that one. They go to Dorado, where Kangdu had a very, very strong defense. The payload just barely got past the first point, and they came out in under 3 minutes to push it, the little bit farther, but under 3 minutes, that's all they had to do. Eichenwald was basically the same exact thing. Kangdu showed off their dominance in under 4 minutes this time, where they stopped LW Blue just after the first point. So Panthera did really show that they can come back and they have their strengths and they can stomp when they need to. Unfortunately, though, for Kangdu Panthera, that would be all that they would do. They went into the upper bracket final against Meta Athena, where they got swept 3-0.
That's tough.
Yeah, they just completely broke down. First map was Nepal, where Meta Athena, it only took them the first 2 points this time to win it, in a very dominant fashion. The second point was 100% to 0. So Kangdu Panthera never captured it at all.
Oh, wow.
Second map was Numbani, where Meta Athena held, again, just after the first point, and Meta Athena on their attack, they attacked first. They were able to take both points. So that was 2-0 already. Kangdu Panthera's back's against the wall. Hanamura, again, they took the first point in just over 3 minutes, or both points in just over 3 minutes, and they held Kangdu Panthera to just the first point.
Wow, that's crazy.
So Kangdu Panthera gets knocked down to the lower bracket finals though, since they got knocked out later. So the first match of the lower bracket was Afrika Blue versus LW Blue, with LW Blue winning it 3-2. Ilios was very, very back and forth, which actually set the stage for how this match would go, because the whole match was back and forth. So LW Blue took Ilios. Then they go to Kings Row, where Afrika Blue took 2 points over LW's only 1 point. 1-1. They go on to Temple. LW Blue held Afrika Blue to just 1 point, where LW Blue took both points in 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. That's 3.5
minutes.
That's it.
So you just didn't stop.
Yeah, on Temple.
Their run speed was increased. Lucio, boom.
Yeah, basically, they just went in, took the first point, started to go ahead. They sent a couple people up ahead already just to start scouting, and then they just went in and took it. That was it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. This whole match, like I
Dominance.
said, was very back and forth, and it was actually one of the more exciting matches to watch, honestly. They go on to Dorado, where Afrika Blue was held just after the second point, but they had a very strong defense on LW, so Afrika Blue was able to take that map, but their defense was on that second point. Afrika got the payload to just before the second point, really. Seriously, it was a sliver away from being second point captured and the doors opening. And then they held LW Blue to that corner leading into the second point. So it was close, but Afrika was able to stand strong and take that. Last game, they go to Numbani, where LW Blue strongly, and I mean strongly, pushed all 3 points.
With emphasis.
But then, just to capitalize on that, they had a full first point hold over Afrika Blue. Full first point hold, so they didn't even get the first point, and they were able to win it.
So they deserve that one.
So they did deserve that one. So that meant LW Blue had to face Kangdu Panthera to be the second team, or the second seed out of Group B for the semifinals. LW Blue won this one 3-1. Panthera seriously broke down
Quickly.
Quickly.
The,
Couple
the
rounds
wheels
ago.
fell off the car. It was
Exactly.
rolling away.
Again, LW Blue took both points on Oasis. Second point was 100% into 0. Again, that's the second time that this happened to Kongdu Panthera. Then Kings Row went to an overtime. I'm sorry, a tiebreaker. And LW Blue was able to capture that first point where they stopped Kongdu Panthera from even remotely coming close to capturing it. Onto Temple of Anubis, where Panthera finally got a victory under their belt. They were able to take both points this time, and they held LW Blue to just 1. But that would be the only game, unfortunately, that Panthera would win. They go on to Route 66. Again, another tiebreaker. But LW Blue this time had more
Pressure's
time.
on, man.
Yeah, they had more time in the bank, where I believe Kongdu, I think they didn't even have any time at all. And LW Blue was able to win that. So now they're the second team out of Group B into the semifinals, which start actually tomorrow on Friday.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Today is Thursday. And the first match will be Runaway versus LW Blue. And then on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, will be Meta Athena versus Lunatic High. So those are the final
That's
4.
a game right there.
Yeah. And I mean,
Both of them, really.
obviously all Western teams were knocked out before this, so it's an all Korean final, but
What a surprise. Never heard of that. Is this esports?
well, hey, last season 1 Envious won. So
Yeah.
and they 4-0'd too in the finals.
Yeah.
I think Runaway is going to look strong though into this.
Well, yeah, they look strong. What, last week?
Yeah.
Really strong.
Runaway is actually kind of the surprise group or surprise team coming out of this, in my opinion.
No, 100%.
And speaking of Runaway though, switching out of Apex into the Alienware Monthly Melee, this was the first time in the Monthly Melee that foreign teams were invited. And by foreign teams, I mean there was a Brazilian team and Runaway were both invited to this. Runaway's first match was against Selfless Gaming, which honestly, looking at this, I was like, oh man, like I kind of feel bad for Selfless. Speaking honestly, I thought Runaway was going to stomp them. Now, some people could say it's because they were playing on like 150 plus ping because they were playing from Korea.
Doesn't help.
But whatever excuses they want to come up with, Selfless actually beat them. And Selfless went against Rogue, and last month in February, Rogue won the monthly melee. But against who is now LG Evil, last month they were Hammers Esports. They got bought out. But this time, Selfless goes against Rogue, and they look super, super strong. They did lose to Rogue in the upper bracket final 3-2, but it was a very hard-fought series. They got knocked down into the lower bracket, where they beat LG Evil this time to face Rogue again in the grand finals. But Rogue again won this time 3-2 again. But
close game.
But it was a very close match,
series.
And it's nice to see for NA Overwatch too, to see, because honestly, leading into this, Selfless seemed like not a low tier team, but just below, below
on the same level.
Yeah, exactly, below Rogue, Envious, Cloud9. But then, granted, Envious and most members of Envious, I think, are flying back to the States in the next couple weeks because they got to stay at Apex just to watch a couple more games. I know they all left this week though, but then they're going to spend time with their families before they come home to Charlotte. And Cloud9, I don't know if they're all home yet either. I don't know what's going on with them. So they weren't in the monthly melee, but still, that's a good sign to see, to go against Rogue, who is looking good now with their roster changes and being in NA. So that is nice to see. And then the last thing for Overwatch is that we have, starting this weekend, we have the playoffs for the Overwatch Carbon Series, which the 4 teams that qualified are, in this order, LG Evil, Immortals, Complexity, and Renegades. Last night was the last night of the regular season, and the last match was Immortals versus Complexity, where Immortals won 3-0. And Immortals faces Complexity this weekend too for the first round in the playoffs, so that's going to be very interesting to see. And Immortals and Complexity,
hopefully not a 3-0, honestly.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see. Immortals and Complexity had the same record also leading into their final match last night, so that would basically just decide actually nothing really. They were going to face each other either way. They were second and third.
Yeah, that's how it That's how it
But
gets seeded.
yeah, but since it's a final four, or yeah, there was only 6 teams in the series. The other 2 teams were Liquid and LG Loyal, because Luminosity has 2 teams now. But yeah, so they were gonna face each other either way. But it's just interesting to see, basically leading into the playoffs, and only 2 days before that it starts too, that you're gonna see this kind of competition. And Immortals honestly look like the Immortals that won back in January, the winter, what was it called? The not the winter championship, but I forgot what it was called. That the
Mhm.
finals were held at PAX South, but
Yep.
they look like the Immortals that dominantly won that.
hmm
And
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of it.
yeah, and leading into this though, Immortals have looked a bit shaky, but they were coming out where they were holding Complexity in their spawn point. Like Complexity had to blow ults just to get out of the spawn room. That's how strong Immortals
It's painful.
were pushing them and were looking.
I've
And
been there, guys. I've been there.
yeah. And it's just fun to watch that, honestly. Like some people see it as like BM and everything, but I think it's fun because you don't see that many teams at all really ever do that. So it's just nice to see just different strats coming out instead of the same old thing every single time.
Yep.
But yeah,
A little different.
yeah. So we'll see the playoffs this weekend, which we'll talk on next week in next week's show. But that's it for Overwatch. So let's move on into Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, little heroes.
Greetings, friend.
Yeah, so
All
Protein,
right.
what's going on? I hear I don't know, like a little tournament happened this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we just had the Eastern Clash. I mean,
Oh, yeah?
no big deal.
Were there any good
So,
teams?
It's not NA or U, but only MVP, Black, L5, Tempest.
Oh yeah, just
The
those.
best Chinese teams, E-Star.
You mean
Who's the other one?
Three of the past world champions?
Yeah, basically.
All right, so
Yeah.
what happened? What happened?
So
in the
we
Eastern
had
Clash?
we had MVP Black finally get back to the old form and
Yeah.
had a really really good run through the tournament. They faced some tough teams. They let's see, they faced obviously L5 in the finals. They
Yeah.
beat
In the
they
finals
beat a good
and in the upper bracket finals.
beat a good E-Star team.
Yeah.
So I mean they had the gauntlet over there. So MVP Black won. L5 2-0'd and 3-0'd their way to the winners bracket finals, where they were upset by MVP Black, and they weren't playing like they normally do.
No, they weren't. They were throwing so much. In fact, I said that L5 beat L5, not MVP Black.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, and that's all it takes. I mean, this is professional level games, so you slip up here, you lose your cool, and
Yeah.
it spirals out of control pretty quickly. So that was a pretty interesting series for sure to see that upset.
Yeah.
And then so L5 gets bumped down to the lower bracket, and let's say lower bracket we beat. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head here. Let me pull this up. We had
E-Star, which was China's last hope to make it into the Final Four.
Yep. All right. So we are looking at the lower bracket. All right. So first round of the lower bracket, teams that got knocked out first. We had Zero Panda, Chinese team, take out Resurgence?
Mhm.
And then we had Super PT take out Face Check. And both 2-0s, quick games, but then they faced some pretty huge teams in the next round. The level of competition just bumped up.
Yeah.
And obviously it was 3-0s for Zero Panda played E-Star and quick 3-0. Tempest played Super PT, and it was another quick 3-0.
Yeah.
So some really really short maps there. So we get E-Star versus Tempest, and classic Tempest form 3-0 to Tempest, which is really surprising to me.
Yeah.
Considering how good E-Star is and has performed in these tournaments. Like back when MVP Black was on their dominant run, E-Star was the only team to really be able to give them games. And I'm not sure if they took a game off them. No, I don't think they did in the summer split last year.
I don't remember.
And maybe spring. But yeah, MVP was undefeated. And E-Star came so close to beating them a couple of times in their whole series, but it was a 3-0, I think, for MVP But eStar is a really competitive team that performs well on all stages. So
Yeah.
that was a surprise to me. And MVP struggled with them. They it was a 3-2 series to get to the upper bracket finals. But continuing on from there, we had the actual finals. The winners, upper bracket, lower bracket battle here. Once again, L5 versus MVP, and we had MVP come out on top 3-1.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think they're getting in L5's head.
Yeah, because like L5, 2-0'd and 3-0'd their way into the upper bracket final, where then they lost 3-2. But like I said, I think L5 really beat themselves. There was a point where they tried to backdoor the core.
Yep, at like 8%.
Yeah, because they just about got wiped. I think like 3 or 4 of them were killed, so they backed out, and then they tried to backdoor it. But what was great from MVP Black is that they sniffed it out, but in both lanes, they tried to backdoor from 2 different lanes, and MVP Black had the know-how to be like, all right, well, let's check both, and they were able to then team wipe them and then victory march for the win.
I mean, what a comeback there. Those are the kind of games where you're just like, all right, please, don't let the catapults get to my core.
Yeah,
because it's the last thing I need. Just have some minions just pounding at it to get the win. Like
Minions.
unreal.
But
Minions.
What was upsetting though, in comparison to the Western Clash, is that the only competitive matches were basically the ones that MVP Black were in.
Yeah.
First round, MVP 2-0'd Super Perfect Team, but then they had a back and forth matchup against eStar, which they won 3-2. Then they won in the upper bracket 3-2. Then the finals was a little cleaner. They won 3-1. But when you look at L5, they 2-0'd first round, 3-0'd, then lost 3-2, but then they 3-0'd Tempest.
Tempest is no slouch.
Yeah.
They're okay.
But honestly, I was surprised to see Tempest 3-0 eStar in the lower bracket, considering that eStar actually took 2 games off of MVP Black. So
yeah, that was really surprising to me. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't show up for that. I don't know.
Yeah,
they didn't play the same.
I was a bit upset about that, honestly, to see eStar kind of fall out like that. I was hoping to see, China have a team in there too, especially because this was in China too, so it would have been nice to see
home team advantage.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Especially eStar, but like you said, eStar isn't. They are a good team, but kind of been falling a lot ever since 2 BlizzCons ago when Cloud9 won. I think it was. Kind of since then, they kind of stumbled through a lot.
Yeah, I mean they've been competitive, but they never been they never made it to that upper echelon of teams. And for a while it was just again. MVP though.
Yeah.
And they play like Dignitas, and it's like a quick 3-0, 3-1. It was just like a stomping. Or they played Cloud9 or Naventic when they were really on the come up there, and it was like the Western teams play these Eastern teams, and it's just there's no competition. Like we're us. Western people are just getting killed.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like just to be able to see the level of competition out there, and to see that they're even pulling away from even the best Chinese teams like eStar and Zero Panda.
Yeah.
Zero Panda has also been a BlizzCon team, competitive, won some pretty good games there. So yeah, it's really cool to see MVP kind of come back into the spotlight, though, because that really creates some competition within Korea. It's not just L5 winning every game.
Yeah, exactly. Because
anymore.
When they faced off against each other, I think the last week before their bye weeks before Eastern Clash, L5 3-0'd MVP Black. And, I mean, it looked a little better, in the beginning game, but then mid to late game, L5 just raffle stomped them. Yep. So it was a lot different. I don't know what happened.
Some adjustments, some little different drafting.
Yeah, I feel like they really went into this, MVP Black went into this basically just preparing for L5.
That's what it seemed like. But at this point, like, who else is going to compete with them besides, I guess Tempest and Tempest and eStar.
Yeah.
eStar there was a really tough game.
But they don't even have to play against eStar in the HGC because eStar's Chinese team.
Very true.
So it's really just L5 and Tempest, and really that's it. It's just those 3 that They're kind of there's another team in there that's battling for that is the fourth team, but I think they're far enough behind those three that not really mattering
It's
right now.
tough to be in that conversation.
But yeah, so
Yeah,
it was
it's
it was a very
yep.
very good weekend too, because there was a lot of heroes. Because it wasn't just Eastern Clash. We also had Heroes of the Dorm. Uh, the top 64 team started also.
Yeah,
Yeah, you repping
wearing my
UConn?
pick on my hat.
Yeah,
Little
hey,
UConn
and
hometown represent. So
UConn's winning, man. Unfortunately, my bracket is broken beyond all belief
that was
because
quick.
because it's just like NCAA right now. There are upsets everywhere currently.
Yep, I know. So it's like, in Group A we have LSU moving on, WPI, following the seeds. The 2 and the 7 are taking it.
Yeah.
So we had our first upset at the third game of that group up there, and that would be Bellevue taking out Cornell. Your pick.
Cornell
Your
was
hometown team.
I had them in the finals, but losing to UTA. But yeah, got to go with that New York team.
I mean, yeah,
From upstate New
anything
York,
can
gotta
happen. That's the
represent.
bracket. So we had that happen. Texas A&M knocked out UW Platt.
Yep.
2-0. I mean, all these games are 2-0s, so
Yeah.
it's it shows different places, different competition, different practice. So it's always cool to see because not all these people are pro players. We don't know the players at all unless they've really been competitive in this before, or there's a few pros scattered here and there, or former pros mostly.
Yeah,
At this
UTA
point.
Has a couple former pros.
Yeah, they're
Tennessee
okay.
has Rafflecopter,
Gotta love it.
former pro.
Little Falstad god.
Yeah.
And then so then we had UConn taking a W, UW Madison, Kentucky knocked out Texas Tech, the 4 seed in Group A there, and then CSULB, Long Beach taking out VCU, so they were the 5 seed. So a bunch of upsets there.
Yeah.
Moving on to Group B, we had UCSD take out Assumption, Queens U take out North Carolina, Waterloo, 3 seed moving on. Close game against North Texas.
Yeah,
then we had Rutgers upset Oregon State. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, UT Arlington 2-0, beating Tufts.
Yep.
So no surprise there. They're definitely the favorite to win this whole thing. Ohio State knocked out Utah. Toronto knocked out UBC. And then we get on to, let's see. Oh, UNCC took out Columbia, who I think I had Columbia going pretty far in this tournament. So that kind of hurt me a little bit. I don't know. I picked a New York team to do all right, but see, serves me right.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, getting to Group C, we had Laval take out Miami, USC take out Minnesota, Cal Poly taking out MST, Mississippi State.
I'm not sure.
Could be Missouri, not sure, but
Yeah,
Cal Poly I have going really far. UT Dallas taking out Baruch, that's an upset right there, and of course UC Irvine taking out Carleton, or good friend of mine. His alma mater there, the Canadians. Bursky, what are you doing, man? You didn't get on the team. I've been trying to get him to play Hots for years now.
Ever.
So, yep. And then finally in Group D, we had, Penn take the W over Georgia, Quebec taking out Florida State, Arizona State taking out UIT, Indiana taking out Utah Valley, Maryland upsetting University of Houston, Tennessee, your boys taking out Montreal, and then RMU taking out San Jose State. So we got the round of 32 coming up next, and
which actually
should be a little more competitive.
It actually started last night too, where we had a couple matches already. We had we had SBU upset Illinois 2-0. That's a 9 seed beating a number 1 seed.
I don't think I had that. Nope.
Yeah, and then
definitely not in my bracket.
Temple beating Florida 2-0. So so those two are moving on. We had LSU. These are a lot of 2-0s. LSU 2-0'd WPI. And we had UConn win again against UW Madison.
Tricky Turtles, baby.
And Kentucky beat CSU Long Beach 2-0. All of these are 2-0s, man.
Oh, man.
Tennessee 2-0'd RMU. Indiana 2-0'd Maryland. And let me see. UT Dallas 2-0 Cal Poly.
Oh,
That's all we've had
that
so far.
hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts. Bracket's been busted forever anyway.
Oh,
so.
my bracket broke. Basically, Group A basically broke my bracket beyond all belief.
Yep. Well, we'll see who wins our bracket challenge here.
Oh, I was sitting in first too up until like halfway through the first day, and now I think I'm
Dead last.
in the weekly Blizz bracket challenge. No, I think I'm third to last now.
Oh, who's in
So,
last?
I don't know. I had it. I just had it up, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I believe it's a. Oh, it's not a listener. It might be Bags actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow, nice
So-
job, hosts.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, that's good. We're not supposed to win it.
Yep,
We want listeners to win it.
I know.
But yeah, UTA, we all expect to win this. We expect UTA to win Dorm and then to win the Open Division and win in the Crucible against, I believe, the lower teams right now in NA are No Tomorrow and Naventic. Granted, it's just halfway through the season. There's still a couple more
Oh,
weeks.
how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, exactly. There are a couple more weeks to go, so it could be any other. Well, not any other, but basically, there's 3 other teams that could possibly fall into there. But surprisingly, this week we had the 4th Open Division matchup this week, and again we're like, oh, UTA, like they're in it, they're gonna win. UTA took their first loss in the Open Division. Yeah, I know. So the final, or the semis had the top 4 teams currently in the standings. You had UTA, Even in Death, Imported Support, and Looking for More.
Imported Support. I love that name.
Even in Death 2-0'd UTA to knock them out of the championship. So they were going to compete for third or fourth. Looking for More beat Imported Support, again another 2-0. So in the final, Looking for More took their first win, 2-1 against Even in Death. But more surprisingly, Imported Support 2-0'd UTA. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So UTA is now they took 4th in that.
Bummed.
And now because of that, because there was also that one week where them and I don't remember if it was Looking for More or Even in Death. I think it was Looking for More. Both of them didn't compete. It was that President's Day weekend, so whatever.
Tough to call it up.
Yeah, so that weekend both those teams didn't compete. But now UTA and earlier we were joking, oh, UTA could take a week off and like they'll still be in first, no problem. Well, because of that week off and now this 4th place finish, they're sitting in 2nd right now in the Open Division. And it's a lot tighter. Looking for More is right now in first with 280. UTA has 270, so only 10-point difference there. But then Imported Support is sitting in 3rd with 245. So they're not far off of UTA, of knocking UTA out of, possibly competing for that. And then Even in Death, that now from 4th to 3rd, there's a bigger gap. It's Even in Death has 170 points to Imported's 245. But yeah, this shakes it all up. Granted, there's 4 more open let me see.
Matches.
Right? Let me see. There's 3 more. Sorry, there's 3 more before the Crucible.
Yep.
And now, granted, it's harder also because I don't believe they put out the bracket until basically like that day, like a couple hours before, maybe if even that.
Hard to game plan.
Yeah, so I feel like, all these teams kind of go in with, okay, this is what we're going to do. We kind of know what, like UTA will be like, okay, we kind of know what Even in Death will do after these couple weeks, Looking for More, Imported Support. Like, we know, like, kind of what they'll do, what they'll run. But still, they're training they're practicing for Heroes of the Dorm. They've got to practice for this because this is their chance to, after they graduate, go pro and make money from this. So, I'm excited. I like that happened because, not that I'm saying that I'm happy they lost, but yeah, I'm happy now that it's more of a competition instead of one team just raffle stomping their way on through.
Not to be confused with Rafflecoptering.
Not to be confused with Rafflecopter.
He's on Tennessee.
Yep. But yeah, that's all I have also for Heroes.
All right, so let's bring up some Hearthstone, man.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Let's segue into Hearthstone. Over the weekend we had the finals for the Trinity series, which were held in Burbank, California. So those teams got to fly out there. And the Trinity Series, if you don't remember, is a team-based Hearthstone tournament. So 3 players a team. And the set was actually like it was kind of cool
They
because
do a good job with those. The one at BlizzCon is awesome.
yeah, I know. I mean, I haven't seen it in person, but pictures and
Someday.
when you've gone, you've sent me pictures too. So like, yeah, it does look amazing. Yeah, hopefully this year, we get to go. But yeah, because buying tickets, whatever, it's crazy. But
Ticket props.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so going back, so the set though of Trinity Series was nice. You had the 2 casters, on a desk in the middle, and then you had the 2 teams on the side. But what was nice was, you have the Hearthstone background and like that kind of scenery that they do for every LAN tournament. But they had they had flags like banners with all the logos of the teams that were in the whole Trinity Series, and then on each side throughout throughout the matches, like whoever was playing, they had the smaller banners of each of those teams with their logos on it. And I just thought that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Like, I would, if I was somebody on the team, I'd be like, yo, can I still get that though? Hang that in my house or something. It was
Dude,
nice.
that'd be awesome.
It was nice.
Yes,
It was
please.
really nice setting. I don't know if there were viewers there. I don't know how that worked because they didn't pan out or anything. So, I mean, I doubt there was. But anyway, Luminosity did look really strong. They beat Virtus Pro and Complexity, and they beat Complexity in the upper bracket 6-4. So Complexity had to wait because they got knocked out later, so they had to wait to see who they would face to go back into the grand finals, which ended up being Virtus Pro, which they beat. Complexity beat them pretty handedly. So it was again a rematch of Complexity against Luminosity, but this time Complexity won 6-4. So Complexity takes home 75.
Taking home some cheddar.
Yeah, so a serious amount too, $75,000. So that's what, 25K a player.
Not a bad day.
Yeah, and
playing Hearthstone.
And quite the difference too for second place. Luminosity takes home 30K, and then third, fourth, I believe, both get 15K.
Yep.
But going into this, Complexity story was kind of interesting because first of all, they barely qualified for the playoffs. They just barely qualified over Tempo Storm only because of game differential. That's really what it came down to. It was very close. Yeah. And also, if you remember, I think last week or 2 weeks ago in the show, that there was kind of a series of things that could happen, which would determine the fourth seed for this too. So they barely qualified, and in the first match, they faced off against Liquid, where Liquid kind of beat themselves. They didn't ban Pirate Warriors, which are currently the strongest deck in the meta, and that's what ultimately beat them and dropped them into the lower bracket. And then in there, also Liquid kind of couldn't get their footing. And in the finals, Luminosity, this was also very back and forth. Luminosity took 1, then Complexity, then it was like 3-1, but then Complexity came back, very back and forth. But Luminosity ended up having to play a Hunter deck twice, and Hunter deck is the weakest deck currently in the meta. I think there's only been one Hunter deck win in the Trinity Series, and that was early. I think it might have actually been a Cloud9 win or a Tempo win, but unfortunately, they didn't have good luck. They had a very bad, unlucky first draw, and from there, they couldn't really get it going. Complexity ends up beating them and being the Trinity Series champions.
Boom.
So they're
hands up, 75K.
Yeah. But what's nice from there is, at least for NA represent, Luminosity of Frozen is on Luminosity, and so from there, basically, Frozen actually. He gets flown out to Burbank, California for this, and then he gets flown to Bahamas for the Winter Championship that started today. And
Go
now,
visit Justin.
Yeah, exactly.
Bags
right?
down there.
Yeah, Bags is cruising down there. So the schedule, it started. Winter Championship did start today with groups A and B today. Group C and D will be tomorrow after they're doing a live stream of card reveals. So for the new expansion for Journey to Un'Goro. So that's
always fun.
Yeah, so they're starting that at 6 a.m. Pacific, so 9 a.m. for us here on the East Coast.
It's a better time.
Yeah, exactly. So there'll be a live stream for the card reveal, then Group C and D, and then on Saturday will be decider matches and quarterfinals, and Sunday are the semifinals and finals. First place takes home $60,000. Second place $40,000. Third, fourth $20,000. Fifth and eighth $12,500. 9th through 16th are $7,500. But there's also
not a bad day.
Yeah, there's a lot of points also coming out here for for the World Championship at BlizzCon. So first place gets 20 points, second 15, then 10, 8, and 6. So there's a lot of points also here besides money, which, I mean, both of those are really nice to have.
Yeah, pretty
And-
good. Get you to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And so currently, a couple matches already, at the time of this recording, a couple matches already happened. Each match is a best of 7 format. So Frozen beat 7A7 4-3. Stan Udachi beat X Hope 4-2. Then Stan Udachi again he beat Frozen 3 to. Or, I'm sorry, this is actually currently going on. It's currently 3-1. So Frozen needs to kind of reverse sweep here.
You can do this, man.
Yeah, to be in a good standing. Now, it's four groups of 4 players. So the playoffs will be 8 players. So Frozen has to reverse sweep here, or at least have a good standing to be in second to make it out.
Yep.
And then Group B, Nira beat Dr. Jikaniki, who was the NA
Pretty awesome.
winter champion.
Pretty awesome name.
Yeah, leading into this. So Nira beat Dr. J 4-3, and Palmblad beat Lovely Chook 4-1, which was actually, I was watching that before we started recording this, and Lovely Chook won, and it was 1-3, and so he had a reverse sweep, but unfortunately he didn't manage to do it. So those matches will continue after the Group A match of Stan Udachi and Frozen. So hopefully, come on, Frozen, you can do it. I also picked Frozen as my champion, which, if you didn't see that there was that Blizzard ran a promotion, you pick your champion, and the farther they go, you'll receive card packs from Mean Streets of Gadgetzan.
I messed up.
Yeah, so I picked Frozen
I did
as
not
my
know
champion, so that's another reason why I want him to go farther,
go,
so I could
dude,
get
yeah.
so I could get free card packs,
wrong
especially
with that.
with Blizzard raising the price of card packs. Not cool.
Never cool.
Never cool.
It's like when iTunes raised the price of songs.
Come on. But that's it. That's it for the news, and that's it for the show and your first show back, Protein.
Feels pretty good. Glad
Yeah.
to be back.
Yeah. So where can, if anywhere, where can people find you, and how can people find you?
You can find me in game on Protein, obviously.
You
And
can-
not so much Warcraft anymore, but I'll be on
Yeah.
Heroes all the time. If anyone wants to hit me up, I'm looking for Team League people.
You can find him solo jumping as Sonya into a group of 5 while the rest of his team is retreating because we are down people.
Yep, it's on YouTube. Watch the VOD.
But-
She's awesome. That was back when Slam was a thing.
Yeah.
But also, you can find me on Twitter at powerup_Brotein. And off to you, Sean.
You can find me on Twitter at Sean Mess, on twitch.tv/GHWOZZ, because somebody has GWOZ and I'm upset about it. Even with the free name change now on Twitch, I couldn't get it. But you can also find our show. You can subscribe to us on YouTube by searching The Weekly Blizz. Please subscribe and turn on that notification button so you can, you see when our new episodes are up. You can also find the podcast, the audio, on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play. Whatever your podcast app of choice is, we are most likely on there because we are everywhere. And even if you're not an iTunes user, please go on iTunes and give us a 5-star review. It really helps us out a lot by pushing us up there, gets us noticed more. So please give us a 5-star review. You can also email the show at theweeklyblizz@gmail.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Facebook. Everything is The Weekly Blizz. And again, thank you to Nicholas Dominique for our fantastic music for our intro and our outro. And with that, we will see you next week. See ya!
Hey.